Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you do what you do, why you make the choices you make, why some people seem unstoppable while others remain stuck in the same patterns? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's something far deeper. Something controls every decision, every action, and ultimately the direction of our lives. Today we're going to uncover the hidden forces that drive our behavior, and once you understand this, you'll never look at yourself or the world the same way again. Let's dive in. Everything we do, every action we take, every decision we make is controlled by an invisible force. It's not something we can see or touch, but it's always there, shaping the way we think, feel, and act. Most people go through life believing they're making conscious choices, that they're in full control of their decisions. But in reality, there's something deeper at play, something that operates beneath the surface, directing our behaviors without us even realizing it. From the moment we wake up in the morning, our minds are running patterns. These patterns aren't random. They're built over time, shaped by our experiences, our emotions, and the beliefs we've been conditioned to accept. Think about it. Why do two people in the exact same situation respond in completely different ways? Why does one person face adversity and push forward while another crumbles under the pressure? It's not intelligence, it's not luck. It's this invisible force guiding them, dictating what they perceive as possible, what they expect from themselves, and ultimately what they do. This force is created by a combination of our emotions, our beliefs, and our internal needs. Every decision we make is linked to how we feel in that moment. If we're confident, we take risks. If we're fearful, we hold back. And most of the time, we don't even question where those emotions are coming from. We assume they're just reactions to the world around us. But the truth is, they're being shaped by something much deeper, our subconscious programming. Think back to a time when you hesitated to take action on something important. Maybe it was starting a new project, making a big life decision, or stepping into an unfamiliar situation. Logically, you knew what needed to be done, but something inside held you back. That hesitation wasn't random. It wasn't just a passing thought. It was that invisible force influencing your behavior, making you feel uncertain, fearful, or even paralyzed. And the same thing happens in moments of motivation. Ever notice how sometimes you feel unstoppable, like nothing can hold you back? You have the same brain, the same abilities as yesterday, but suddenly you're driven, focused, and ready to take on anything. That shift isn't coming from the external world, it's coming from within. It's the invisible force aligning with your desires, propelling you into action. Most people never take the time to understand what's really controlling them. They live on autopilot, reacting to life instead of actively shaping it. They blame circumstances, other people, or even luck for where they are, never realizing that the true power lies within their own mind. The real difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't external, it's this force. Those who master it, who take control of their emotions, their beliefs, and their mental programming are the ones who create extraordinary lives. Every decision we make, every action we take, and even the thoughts we entertain are driven by two opposing forces, pain and pleasure. These two forces shape our behaviors more than logic, reason, or even our desires. Whether we realize it or not, our minds are constantly evaluating every situation, weighing whether something will lead to pain or pleasure, and then making decisions accordingly. This process happens in a split second, often without us even being aware of it, yet it governs our entire lives. At its core, the brain is wired for survival. It has one primary job, to protect us from pain and move us toward pleasure. This programming is so deep that it overrides conscious thought, ambition, and even logic. Think about why people procrastinate. It's not because they don't want to succeed or because they're lazy. It's because in that moment, their mind associates more pain with taking action than with avoiding it. Maybe it's the fear of failure, the discomfort of stepping into the unknown, or the pressure of expectations. Whatever it is, the brain perceives that doing the task will bring more immediate pain than the pleasure of completing it. So it pushes the person to delay, distract, or avoid. On the other hand, consider why people engage in self-destructive habits, whether it's smoking, overeating, or staying in toxic relationships. Logically, they know these behaviors are harmful, but their mind has linked them to some form of pleasure. Maybe smoking provides stress relief, eating junk food offers comfort, or staying in a bad relationship feels safer than being alone. Even when the long-term consequences are painful, the brain prioritizes the immediate pleasure, leading to patterns that can be incredibly hard to break. This principle also explains why some people take massive action toward their goals while others stay stuck. When someone links enough pain to staying the same, they will do whatever it takes to change. When the pain of inaction becomes greater than the discomfort of effort, change is inevitable. That's why people who hit rock bottom often experience the biggest breakthroughs. At some point, the suffering becomes so unbearable that they finally make a shift. But this process doesn't have to be random or accidental. It can be controlled. By consciously reprogramming what we associate pain and pleasure with, we can change our behaviors at will. The key is awareness. Recognizing that every hesitation, every bad habit, every fear is tied to an internal pain-pleasure calculation happening in our minds. Once we identify what our brain is linking pain to, we can override it. If we can make procrastination feel more painful than taking action, we'll stop procrastinating. If we can associate massive pleasure with exercise instead of seeing it as a chore, we'll stay consistent. Pain and pleasure dictate everything, from the smallest daily choices to the biggest life-changing decisions. The problem is that most people allow these forces to control them unconsciously instead of using them as tools to create the life they truly want. Who we believe we are shapes every action we take. Identity is the most powerful force in human psychology, because we will always act in alignment with who we think we are, even when it goes against logic, opportunity, or desire. Most people think their actions shape their identity, but the truth is, it's the other way around. Our identity dictates our actions. The way we see ourselves becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, reinforcing behaviors that match our internal self and vision, and rejecting anything that contradicts it. Think about someone who believes deep down that they are lazy. Even if they set big goals, create to-do lists, or make commitments to be more productive, they will always find a way to sabotage their progress. Why? Because working hard contradicts their core identity. No matter how much external motivation they get, their subconscious mind will always pull them back to behaviors that match their belief about themselves. On the other hand, someone who sees themselves as disciplined and hardworking doesn't have to push themselves to take action. It happens naturally because that's who they believe they are. This is why so many people struggle with change. They focus on changing their actions without changing their identity. A person who says, I want to quit smoking, is still identifying as a smoker trying to quit. They may resist for a while, but eventually their subconscious mind will pull them back to old habits. But someone who says, I'm not a smoker, is making a fundamental shift in identity. They're no longer just fighting against a habit, they're becoming someone different. The same applies to fitness, wealth, relationships, and success in any area. Someone who identifies as bad with money will unconsciously make decisions that reinforce financial struggle. Someone who sees themselves as not athletic will avoid physical challenges even if they have the ability to improve. Someone who believes they are unlucky in love will continue to attract and tolerate unhealthy relationships, not because they want to, but because it matches their self-image. The power of identity is so strong that it overrides talent, intelligence, and even motivation. Look at athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. They don't just work hard, they see themselves as winners. They don't just push through obstacles, they believe they are the kind of person who thrives in adversity. This isn't just a mindset shift, it's a complete rewiring of how they define themselves. And because their identity is linked to success, their actions naturally follow. What's even more powerful is that identity isn't fixed. It's shaped by our experiences, our environment, and most importantly, the story we tell ourselves. If we repeatedly tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're not capable, or that we're destined to fail, that belief will dictate our choices. But the moment we rewrite that story, the moment we decide to shift our identity, everything else begins to change. Most people live their lives reinforcing an identity they never consciously chose, one shaped by childhood experiences, societal expectations, or past failures. They say, that's just who I am, without realizing that identity is fluid, not permanent. The key to transformation isn't just about working harder or setting bigger goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally achieves those goals. When we redefine who we are at our core, the right actions, habits, and decisions become effortless. Every single thing we do, every decision, every action, every emotion is driven by a set of fundamental human needs. These needs go beyond simple wants or desires. They are hardwired into our psychology. They are the forces that shape our behavior whether we realize it or not. At the core of human motivation are 6 primary needs: certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. These needs are universal, meaning every person on the planet has them, but the way we prioritize and fulfill them determines the quality of our lives and the patterns of our behaviors. Some people meet their needs in empowering ways while others meet them in destructive ways, but make no mistake, every action we take is an attempt to fulfill one or more of these needs. The first need is certainty, the need to feel safe, secure, and in control. Without a sense of certainty, we feel anxious and unstable. Certainty can come from many sources: a stable job, a consistent routine, a reliable relationship, or even just knowing what to expect day to day. Some people seek certainty in healthy ways, like building a strong career or developing skills that make them invaluable. Others seek it through unhealthy means, like staying in a toxic relationship because it's familiar, or avoiding challenges to prevent failure. Even bad habits, like smoking or overeating, can give a false sense of certainty. They become predictable, reliable escapes from stress. But here's the paradox. While we crave certainty, we also need variety, or else life becomes dull and monotonous. Variety is the need for excitement, change, and new experiences. It's why people seek adventure, travel, entertainment, and personal challenges. Without variety, we become bored, disengaged, and even depressed. The key is finding a balance. Too much certainty and life feels stagnant. Too much variety and life feels chaotic. Some people chase variety in positive ways, like learning new skills or taking on creative projects. Others seek it in destructive ways, like engaging in reckless behavior, substance abuse, or constantly switching relationships to avoid boredom. Then there's the need for significance, the deep desire to feel important, unique, and valued. Everyone wants to feel like they matter. Some people fulfill this need by achieving success, making an impact, or contributing something great to the world. Others fulfill it in negative ways, like tearing others down, being overly dramatic, or engaging in destructive behaviors just to get attention. The hunger for significance is so strong that some people would rather be hated than feel invisible. It's why social media is so addictive. Every like, comment, and share feeds our need to feel significant. The problem is, if significance becomes our top need, we may sacrifice happiness, relationships, or even our integrity just to feel important. Equally powerful is the need for connection and love. As human beings, we are wired to seek relationships, to feel close to others, to be understood and appreciated. This need is so fundamental that people will do almost anything to avoid feeling alone. Some fulfill it in positive ways by nurturing deep relationships and surrounding themselves with supportive communities. Others fulfill it in unhealthy ways, like staying in toxic relationships because the fear of loneliness is greater than the pain of mistreatment. Even destructive habits like joining a gang, engaging in self-pity, or playing the victim can meet the need for connection. If nothing else, they at least ensure that someone will pay attention. Beyond these basic needs, there are 2 that determine whether a person is truly fulfilled: growth and contribution. Growth is the need to evolve, to become better, to expand our knowledge, skills, and abilities. If we're not growing, we're dying. Stagnation leads to dissatisfaction, no matter how much success or comfort we achieve. That's why even the wealthiest, most successful people can feel empty if they stop learning and evolving. Growth is essential, but it's not enough on its own. The highest human need is contribution, the desire to give, to serve, to make a difference beyond ourselves. This is what creates true fulfillment. No matter how much we achieve, if we're only focused on ourselves, something will always feel missing. The happiest and most successful people don't just take, they give. They use their skills, their resources, and their influence to uplift others. Contribution is what turns success into significance and transforms a good life into a meaningful one. What makes these 6 needs so powerful is that they are not just preferences, they are necessities. If one of these needs isn't being met, we will do whatever it takes to fulfill it, even if it means making bad decisions. The key to mastering our own behavior and understanding others is recognizing which needs drive us the most and how we are meeting them. Some people prioritize certainty above all else, leading them to play life safe, while others prioritize significance, making them constantly chase approval or recognition. The way we rank these needs determines our choices, our habits, and ultimately the destiny of our lives. Beliefs are the invisible forces that shape our lives. They determine what we see as possible, what we strive for, and what we hold ourselves back from. Every action we take or fail to take can be traced back to a belief, whether it's conscious or subconscious. The power of belief is so strong that it can act as either chains that hold us down or catalysts that propel us forward. The only difference is the nature of the beliefs themselves. Most people don't realize that their beliefs were formed long before they had the ability to consciously choose them. As children, we absorb ideas from our parents, teachers, society, and life experiences. A single moment, an offhand comment, a failure, a traumatic event can create a belief that sticks with us for years, even decades. If a child grows up constantly hearing, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never succeed," that belief can become their reality. If they hear you can do anything you set your mind to, that belief shapes their identity and choices in a completely different way. The most dangerous thing about beliefs is that once we accept them as true, we stop questioning them. They become the filters through which we see the world, dictating what we attempt, what we avoid, and ultimately what we achieve. Beliefs can function as change, keeping us locked in a limited version of ourselves. Someone who believes I'm not smart will avoid challenges that require intelligence. Someone who believes I'm not good with money will make decisions that ensure they stay broke. Someone who believes I'll never find love will unconsciously sabotage relationships before they even have a chance to flourish. These beliefs don't reflect reality, they create it. The moment we accept a limitation as truth, we start living in alignment with it. Even if an opportunity arises, the mind will find a way to reject it, either by doubting its legitimacy, downplaying our own abilities, or creating excuses to stay in our comfort zone. But just as beliefs can act as chains, they can also be catalyst forces that drive us to new heights. History is filled with people who achieved the impossible simply because they refused to accept limiting beliefs. Thomas Edison believed that failure was just feedback, so he kept experimenting until he created the light bulb. Muhammad Ali believed he was the greatest long before he ever won a championship, and that belief drove him to train harder, fight smarter, and dominate the sport. Elon Musk believes that anything is possible with enough effort, which is why he has disrupted multiple industries and redefined what humanity can achieve. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or intelligence, it's belief. A person who believes in their ability to succeed will find a way, no matter how many obstacles stand in their path. A person who believes they are destined to fail will give up at the first sign of difficulty. The mind is always looking for evidence to support its beliefs. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll notice every failure, every rejection, every mistake. If you believe you're unstoppable, you'll see every setback as a lesson, every challenge as an opportunity, and every obstacle as something that can be overcome. The real danger is that most people never examine their beliefs. They accept them as truth, not realizing that beliefs are nothing more than thoughts we've repeated enough times to become unquestioned assumptions. The good news is that beliefs are not fixed. They can be changed, they can be rewired, and when they are, everything else shifts. The moment a person replaces the belief, "I'm not good enough," with "I have unlimited potential," their actions follow suit. The moment they stop believing I'm bad with money and start believing I can create financial freedom, they begin making smarter financial decisions. Change doesn't start with action, it starts with belief. People often wonder why motivation fades, why they start strong but lose momentum over time. The answer is simple: their beliefs never changed. They tried to force themselves to take new actions while still holding on to old limiting beliefs. Willpower alone isn't enough. To create lasting change, beliefs must shift at the core level. Once that happens, action becomes effortless. The right habits, behaviors, and decisions flow naturally, not because of discipline, but because they align with a new, empowering belief system. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who had the best opportunities or the fewest struggles. They are the ones who mastered their beliefs. They shattered the chains of limitation and replaced them with beliefs that fueled their ambition. They didn't wait for proof, they created it. And that is the power of belief. It can keep you stuck or it can set you free. It can be the reason you stay small or the reason you rise beyond what anyone thought was possible. The choice is always ours. Every decision we make, every action we take, and every result we create in life is determined by one critical factor, our emotional state. How we feel in any given moment dictates our behavior, our choices, and ultimately the direction of our lives. The same person can react completely differently to the same situation depending on their emotional state at the time. When we're in a peak, empowered state, we take bold action, make confident decisions, and push past obstacles. But when we're in a disempowered state, stressed, fearful, overwhelmed, we hesitate, doubt ourselves, and play small. Most people believe that their emotions are the result of their circumstances. They think they feel a certain way because of what's happening around them. But the truth is, emotions don't come from external events, they come from within us. Two people can experience the exact same situation and react in completely different ways, not because the situation is different, but because their internal states are different. One person loses their job and sees it as a tragedy, while another sees it as an opportunity to start something new. One person faces rejection and feels worthless, while another takes it as a challenge to improve. The event doesn't determine the outcome, our emotional state does. The key to mastering our lives is mastering our emotions. If we don't control our emotional state, we don't control our behavior, and if we don't control our behavior, we don't control our results. Imagine a salesperson who is full of energy, confidence, and excitement. They will approach potential clients with enthusiasm, communicate with conviction, and close deals effortlessly. Now imagine that same person, but in a state of doubt, frustration, or fear. Their tone is hesitant, their body language is weak, and their words lack confidence. The skill level hasn't changed, but the results will be completely different just because of their emotional state. This applies to every area of life. A person in a happy, loving state will treat their partner with kindness, patience, and affection. But if that same person falls into a state of stress, frustration, or insecurity, they may lash out, withdraw, or create conflict. A person in an empowered, focused state will tackle challenges head-on, while someone in a state of fear or overwhelm will procrastinate and avoid taking action. The problem is most people let their emotions control them instead of learning how to control their emotions. They wake up in a bad mood and assume the whole day will be bad. They face one setback and spiral into negativity. They let circumstances dictate how they feel instead of choosing how they want to feel. But the truth is, emotional state is something we can control if we understand how to shift it. There are three primary forces that determine emotional state: physiology, focus, and language. Physiology is the fastest and most powerful way to change how we feel. Emotion is created through motion. If you change the way you move, breathe, and carry yourself, you change the way you feel. Think about it. How does a confident person stand? How do they breathe? How do they speak? Now compare that to someone who is depressed. Their posture is slouched, their breathing is shallow, their movements are slow. The moment you shift your body by standing tall, taking deep breaths, and moving with energy, you instantly shift your emotional state. This is why exercise is so powerful for mental health. It's not just about fitness. It's about shifting your state. Focus is the second key to emotional control. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you focus on everything that's going wrong, you'll feel stressed and overwhelmed. If you focus on what's possible, on solutions, and on what you can control, you'll feel empowered. The problem is that most people focus on their fears, their failures, and their limitations. They focus on what they don't want instead of what they do. But the mind is like a camera. Whatever you zoom in on becomes your reality. The moment you shift your focus, you shift your emotional state. At the core of everything we do lies an invisible force: our beliefs, our emotions, our needs, and our identity. Whether we rise to greatness or stay stuck in patterns that limit us, it all comes down to how we understand and control these forces. The pain versus pleasure principle dictates every choice we make, driving us toward what we associate with pleasure and away from what we associate with pain. Our identity shapes our reality. Whatever we believe ourselves to be, we will fight to remain consistent with. The science of human needs explains why we do what we do, revealing the 6 fundamental drivers behind every action. Our belief systems can either empower us or imprison us, acting as chains that hold us back or catalysts that propel us forward. And at the heart of it all, our emotional state dictates our behavior. When we control our state, we control our destiny. The key to transforming our lives is not just understanding these forces, but mastering them. When we recognize the power of our beliefs, we can change them. When we shift our emotional state, we change the actions we take. When we redefine our identity, we alter what we're capable of. Life isn't happening to us, it's responding to us. The moment we take control of these invisible forces, we stop being victims of circumstance and become the architects of our future. That's the difference between living by default and living by design. The choice is always in our hands.